Mary Onyali, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, channels.
Okay,
Good morning, Mary.
That's the independence greeting right there from the champ. Good to have you on the show. Well, taking a look at 55 years of sports. What's your side of the story?
55 years of sports in Nigeria. Where do I start? I think I've seen it all. I'm almost as old as Nigeria when it comes to sports. So that means that there is nothing in sports right now that is strange to me. Like you mentioned earlier in your program, my generation brought smiles on the face of Nigerians. Sports was on the highest climax between the mid-'80s and the mid-'90s. Right after Atlanta 96, like you also mentioned during your show, the decline started. We went to sleep, we went into a deep slumber, got lazy, stopped developing young talent to create the revolving door that is needed to breed new talent. And ever since, we never came out of that slippery slope. And that is hurting us till today. I left the shores of Nigeria to the United States in mid-'80s, 85 to be precise. The crop of athletes at that time in all sports held the Nigerian flag high in every national, continental, and international competition. The reason is because majority of our athletes, when it comes to athletics, for example, 80% of them were based in the U.S. on a 4-year athletic scholarship.
Wow.
The other 20% were here in Nigeria, trained by experts from Cuba. I remember that very well, because those were the people that brought the likes of Chioma, Charity Opera, Asonze, and so on and so forth. So we, the U.S., so-called U.S.-based athletes, when we come home, having the chips on our shoulder, thinking we are better than the home base, because of the talent that is abound in Nigeria and the type of infrastructure and facility and welfare and everything that was set in for the home base, they give us a run for our money. That created a very healthy competition all around. So when the likes of myself step up to run, to challenge the home base in the 100 meters, they give me a run for my money. 8 of us were leaning at the tape at the same time. Unlike what we're seeing now, Blessing will be the only one to finish the race, have a drink of water, go to sleep, wake up, and the rest is coming. That was where we got it wrong. Atlanta 96, we keep saying is the best, is the best, is the best. Somebody should sit down and ask those that were there, what made Atlanta 96 the best? It did not happen it did not happen that year 96. It was a deliberate effort, that yielded fruit after 6 to 8 years of need to get it right. We need to get it right.
Okay, definitely we need to get it right. You just talked about 80% of the athletes at that time were based in the United States. Of course, what we have now, we don't have that. So how do we now get it right? What do you think the current board of Nigeria Athletics Federation should do to put athletics on the map again in the world?
To be honest with you, the sports development aspect of sports, it's not on the shoulders of the Federation nor the National Sports Commission. It's on the shoulders of the state, the sports councils, and the LGAs. That's where the likes of myself were raised. We didn't just come out of the blues. We were in schools. We had inter-house sports. We had facilities to training. I'm not just talking about athletics. I'm using athletics as a benchmark because that's my area. But this cuts across all sports. When I was the special assistant on technical matters to the former Director General of the National Sports Commission, my job was to make sure that we go back to the grassroots to see how we can turn the table around. Now, if you're asking for the way forward, I would say go back to the educational sector and the sports sector, marry the two together. They were once husband and wife, but right now they are divorced. We need to get them back on track, because without education and sports, there is no way our nation can move forward. Like I said before, majority of us were given scholarships by the United States government to study for 4 years. If we have the facility here to develop our athletes, we wouldn't have gone out. If the educational sector had embraced sport as a way of developing our youth, we wouldn't have gone out. So until then, we will keep crying foul for the next 10, 15 years. Because before I retired, I begged, I spoke at every medium possible that there has to be a revolving door. There needs to be a feeder system for us to replace us when our legs get tired. But nobody paid ears to me. Maybe they thought I didn't know what I was talking about. I was too young. But after being captain for Team Nigeria on several occasions, the same Atlanta 96 you're talking about, I was the captain.
Yes.
African Games that we won here in Nigeria for the first time in 2003 in Abuja, I was the captain. So how come nobody would think, people think that I don't know what I'm talking about if I captained those two occasions, and we did so well? I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm just talking from the area of expertise. I'm a technocrat. I believe in practicals. You have to practicalize what you speak or what you say. I don't believe in talking too much. I believe in action, because that's the same way I competed. A lot of people doubted me when I was competing, of course, some doubting Thomases. But they know that once you shoot that gun, I'll be the first to get to the tape, because my legs will speak for me. So we need to include the curriculum of sport and education, marry it together so that we can raise these kids from the youth, junior, and all the way to the elite level, combining their education. I hate a situation where you put a mic in front of our Nigerian athletes today and they cannot make a complete sentence. What happens when that athlete retires and there's nothing to do? There is no certificate or anything to fall back on. The life of a sports person it has a very small window. We should also plan for them when they are young for what is going to happen for when they are retired, when their legs or their body cannot take them anymore. We need to go back to our schools and reclaim the playing grounds that have been turned to supermarkets. Reclaim, redirect our curriculum in schools to include sports at least 2 hours a day. I have a group, I'm working on a project right now because I'm tired of complaining or listening to people speaking too much grammar and not doing. A group of 10 Nigerians, ex-athletes, have put together a sports development program that the Ekiti State governor has approved for us to use his state as a pilot.
Okay. Oh, interesting one.
Thank you so much, Amir, for speaking to us on the show this morning. We'll find more time to get you talking about athletics in Nigeria.
We are going to feed them with the athletes that they need.
Okay, thank you so much,
Mary.
For speaking to us.
We appreciate you always on the show.
Thank you.